So I first started getting into poker when I was at university. I co-founded the Poker Society at my university with some people who became really close friends. And we used to travel around to other universities and to casinos throughout the UK playing poker as much as we possibly could. We would have home games all the time. It seems like 3-4 times a week we'd host a home game, usually at my place. You know, one of the great things about it was I developed this huge friendship network. Many of these people I still see today just from playing poker. So when I finished university, I decided to take the chance to get into poker, which was something I was really passionate about. Rather than doing something that I didn't care about so much, I wanted to do something that, you know, I genuinely felt something for. At the time, one of the largest online poker sites was recruiting for customer support agents. Those jobs paid about the same as a graduate job for my degree, which was IT. So I decided to go for one of those and take a chance on the industry, and it paid off. I was able to work my way up from there. I've been in the business now nearly 20 years, so it did take me quite a while to get to this position, starting from the very bottom, basically. But I've worked in a number of interesting roles in that time. Like I said, I started out in customer support, so I've been right at the coalface dealing with customer problems. So I understand what it's like to be in that situation. I understand what makes a good customer support agent compared to a less good one, and I know what good customer service is thanks to that experience. I've also worked in poker and management. I've worked in game integrity, again at the coalface, working with the tools to detect cheating and fraud and the use of bots and things like that in the game. So that's another area that I understand quite well. And then I've led various different types of online poker business as well. I managed an online poker network for quite a while. And as you know, over the last couple of years, I've been at WPT Global running this part of our business. So my first key takeaway comes from my very first role in the industry, which was in the customer support team at a very large online poker site. Now that site was known for having the best customer support of them all. And as a result of that, players respected them a great deal. They were very loyal, and they would tell their friends about their great service. And so I know the power of great service. I know why it's important. I know the value that it adds to the business and the customer. And I really know the difference that it can make. So that's my first really important key takeaway that I brought to WPT Global, is the power of great service. My second key takeaway comes from my experience managing the product at another large online poker site that was really well known for having a fantastic product. And this site was able to grow really, really quickly, partly because it had such a fantastic product. Now, working on that team and seeing how that team communicated with each other, saw how they challenged each other, the kind of environment that they worked in, as well as the ideas that they had. They had some fantastic ideas for growing the game, and they were very effective at implementing them. That's enabled me to bring some product knowledge to WPT Global, which I think will help us to develop our software to be the best in the business over time. My third key takeaway is actually two takeaways in one. So this comes from my time managing an online poker network. Here I learned two really important things. The first is the importance of experimentation. So in this online poker network, because we were very small, we could get away with trying all sorts of crazy things. So we ran experiments all the time. We started things and stopped things. We tweaked things, we changed things, and we measured. Every time we made a change, we measured to see the difference that it made. That approach was quite successful for us. It allowed us to grow and allowed us to really see what worked and what didn't work. Now, WPT Global has a startup culture, and that experimental approach fits really well with the startup culture. We want to try things, we want to see what works, we want to keep the stuff that works, and we want to throw away the stuff that doesn't. That's a big part of how we work. The other sort of part B of what I took away from that experience is the importance of communicating with the customer really in a really transparent way. For example, one of the things that I launched in that company is a blog where I could talk directly to the people who are using our product, explain the decisions that we were taking, explain the experiments that we were doing all the time, and explain the results of those experiments and why we'd made certain changes. And I found that that helped players to understand the decisions we were making and help them to trust us more, which is exactly what we were trying to achieve. I always want players to trust us. There's a few things I really love about poker, right? One is it's a very fair game. If you put in the effort, you will be rewarded for that. Doesn't always work out that way in the short term. And yes, some people get very, very lucky. Some people get very, very unlucky. That's life. But wouldn't life as a whole be great if it rewarded effort just the same way that poker does? If you work really, really hard at poker, you work harder than everybody else, you're going to win. You're going to succeed. You're going to grow and learn. It's not always the case in real life. I really like that about poker. Something else I really like about poker is the power of progress. So I said just then about working hard at the game. If you work hard, you will get better at poker. Poker is a competitive activity that you can get better at. It's one of the things that makes it completely different from other forms of gambling. It's not like a casino game where the outcome is, determined by the press of a button. It's not like bingo where you have no control of the outcome at all. In poker, it's a pursuit that you can learn, grow, get better at, and you can see your progress. So as you learn and get better, you're more likely to win. That reinforces the excitement and the joy of the game. It brings pleasure. This progress alone, seeing that progress, is enormously rewarding, and it results in more and more positive feedback. Poker is also a fantastic social game. It's a great way to meet new people. It's a great way to understand people in depth, because when you play against somebody in poker, you see them go through the full breadth of emotions. You see them angry, you see them delighted, you see them everything in between. It's a great way to get to know somebody. I've made some of my best friends in life by playing poker together. One of my most memorable nights playing poker was on a trip to Las Vegas with my friends. Now, we all entered a late night tournament. It was a mega stack tournament at Caesar's Palace. And I went on to win that tournament. My friends, some of them bust out early, and they went to go enjoy themselves in the casino. And they ran into a guy called Dave Ulliott, who many of you might know as Devilfish. Now, Devilfish is a really famous, well-known player in the UK poker scene. And obviously my mates were amazed to meet him for the first time. We're really happy to meet him. And he was such a gentleman and took them on an amazing night out around Las Vegas. So the reason that's so memorable for me is I've always thought this is like one of my best tournament wins that I've ever had in my career. And yet I actually missed out on potentially an even better night touring Las Vegas with the Devilfish. The second thing that springs to mind, though, is the fact that WPT Global became the third largest online poker site in the world within 2 years. So we launched in April 22. By the time April 2024 rolled around, we were firmly established as the third largest online poker site in the world. Now that was a very, very memorable moment for me when that happened, and we were very proud of it. But I hope to see us reach number 2 and eventually number 1 as well. What pisses me off about poker at the moment is how much apathy there is, how players just accept being treated badly by other online poker sites. If you're being treated badly, I encourage you to vote with your feet, to move, to play somewhere else. And what I'm trying to do is make WPT Global the natural choice. So if you're upset with the treatment that you're getting somewhere else, come and play at WPT Global and things will be different.